AD Drew here, Black College Sports Network, SIAC Commissioner Anthony Holloman. How's it going, my brother?
AD, it's good to see you. All is well, and welcome to Savannah to the SIAC basketball tournament.
Yeah, SIAC basketball tournament. Been on the job 6 months there, Dr. Holloman. So how's it been? Has it been a whirlwind? Has it calmed down? How's it been?
So, you know, AD, it's been a whirlwind. It's been exciting. It has been a pleasure to be able to do the work of the commissioner of the SIAC. I've been fortunate that Commissioner Greg Moore left the SIAC in a good, stable position so that I could take the ball and run. And so that's what we've done. We had a successful football season, successful SIAC championship game at Benedict, and Benedict finished the regular season a perfect 11-0 and was the #1 seed in the region. So we're excited from where we're at. Now we're in the basketball and our winter sports. So we're excited about being in Savannah. This is the first time, I guess, in 3 or 4 years that we have not been in Rock Hill. And bringing the tournament to Savannah is a one-off because we're looking to negotiate a multi-year deal moving forward. But bringing it to one of the campuses, I think, will reinvigorate our alums from our member institutions, because that's what it is about, to have a great student experience for our athletes and our alums in our institutions.
Speaking of &O teams, you got a team playing here in the SIAC Championship that went &O on the women's side, that being Tuskegee. So having a undefeated football team in your conference, an undefeated basketball team in your conference, are we gonna get into baseball too?
So, you know, AD, that's the one thing that is impressive. When you have a coach that can run the gauntlet in a competitive league like we have, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, you know, it's impressive. And, you know, Tuskegee looked a part of a #1 seed earlier today. They were very impressive. They had the Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year. So they have a strong team. And, you know, the beauty of tournament play is one and done. And so I'm sure that they're going to have to play their best basketball to win the tournament. And I know they'll have stiff competition as the tournament goes on.
Speaking of one and done, you know, I've been around this SIAC basketball tournament for almost 20 years. And although the tournament has always seemed like it's stretched out forever, being a week-long tournament, one of the pleasantries of the SIAC tournament is there's always an early upset. A #1 or a #2 seed goes down in their first game after somebody had to play in to get to play them. So just talk about just the topsy-turviness of the tournament.
So I will tell you that the rigors of the regular season prepares the teams for tournament play. Even if you're not winning at the clip you want to, you're tournament tested when it comes time to playing these games. And, you know, one off shooting night, you know, your best player gets in foul trouble, then it becomes a game of mental toughness. And so last night, Benedict, you know, who has a strong women's program, was upset by Fort Valley.
Had Clark Atlanta
upset by Atlanta
earlier this afternoon.
And, you know, you have the one thing that I did notice, the coach at Fort Valley used to be a coach in the MEAC and had strong teams at South Carolina State. The coach at Lane used to be at Jackson State, where she had strong teams. And so you have experienced coaches making adjustments and putting their teams in a position to win. And so that is the beauty of tournament basketball. You know, I'm excited to see what the coming days bring. You know, now you have the #1 and #2 seeds taking the floor. And so, you know, it should be interesting because you always want to see the best teams playing the best at the right time.
Right. We talked about your first 6 months here on the job. What the next 6 months bring as you come up on your 1-year anniversary in the fall?
AD, my main focus now is to generate revenue to support the conference office as well as our member institutions. And so we're actively engaging partners, trying to ensure that we have the ability to we're trying to actively engage partners to form mutually beneficial partnerships that would help strengthen our financial position. We're clearly looking at media rights partners. Presently we have a deal with ESPN, but we're looking to bring more of our telecast to our fans. And so we know that you need multiple partners. And so we're going to be strategic in making those decisions on how we will move going forward. Of course, we will be looking to see whether expansion is on the horizon for the conference. We have an odd number of teams with 15. We have 13 football playing schools. So, clearly we'll be looking at the landscape and see who's applying for membership in Division II and whether it's a good fit for the SIAC. In addition, we're doing scheduling. We're working on a football composite that will take us out 4 years. And we're trying to secure locations for our SIAC Championship football game, which will be a neutral site moving forward, as well as our basketball tournament. I'm looking for a multi-year deal with basketball. And so, Savannah State was gracious to host us this year, but we will clearly consider Savannah, but we'll look at multiple options to see what's best for the conference moving forward.
All right. So you said the word expansion. Everybody in HBCU land knows Talladega is expected to try to make the move to Division II. So I have to ask you, Talladega, yes, no, maybe?
You know what, Talladega College was a founding member of the SIAC. And so clearly, should they be successful in their move to D2, I'm sure they will be an institution that SIAC would have some interest in. But you have to go through the process of getting admitted to NCAA Division II. And so at this particular time, we don't have any plans to add a member, but we'll see, what happens in the future.
All right. A recent article came out from SI.com ranking the most powerful African Americans in sports. And there was a group of individuals about halfway down on that page, the what do you guys call yourself? The Power Four. I wanted to make sure I coined you guys' term right. But mentioned the 4 commissioners of the 4 African American conferences that play in NCAA, 2 on the Division I level, 2 on the Division II level. Tell us about that article, what that article really means for not only your conference, but for HBCUs in general.
So, AD, the article was penned by Richard Johnson, and he ranked the 20 most influential blacks in college football. And so Deion Sanders was #1, Mike Locksley was #2, and the list included Gene Smith from Ohio State, Martin Jarman from UCLA, James Franklin, and Jackie McWilliams Parker, Charles McClellan, myself, and Sonia Stills. And it's a testament to the collective strength that we have when we work together. And so we are adamant that we are going to work together to form alliances that let us leverage the strength of our member institutions. And so, I think that article was the first glimpse into the real power that we have as a collective. Now, we were ranked 10 through 13. And so, it was an honor to be on that list, but our goal is to move higher on the list as far as wielding influence over college athletics, because I think what you'll see is that the Power Five, those institutions stand unrivaled, but when you look at it and peel the onion back, the HBCU conferences are there with attendance and the metrics that our revenue sponsors are looking at, and so we do have a collective power. We have the brand recognition of institutions like Tuskegee and Morehouse out of my conference, Howard out of the MEAC, Jackson State out of the SWAC, and the CIAA has, Winston-Salem, Virginia Union, and other institutions.
Don't forget your alma mater.
And my alma mater, Johnson C. Smith. But, I think this is one of the things that, when we started to be strategic in how we moved and operated, then people take notice. And so I think this article is validation.
Right. Over the last couple of years, we've seen things such as the SIAC conference add men's volleyball. We've seen institutions like Fisk add gymnastics. We've seen Howard just won a swimming championship in CAA. So outside of the traditional sports and then the traditional Olympic sports, is there any plans to add other opportunities for student athletes as a conference? So
I would tell you, AD, that the SIAC was on the forefront. When I was chair of the AD's Council, I worked with Commissioner Greg Moore to partner with USA Volleyball and the First Point Volleyball Foundation to add men's volleyball. So we're the first HBCU conference to have teams playing. We have 6 teams that are playing: Benedict College, Central State University, Edward Waters University, Fort Valley State University, Kentucky State University, and Morehouse College that are playing men's volleyball. And so I think what you are seeing is that we know that students are looking for opportunities to follow their passions. And so they're not all going to be bat and ball sports. And so when you look at men's volleyball, you look at wrestling at Morgan State, swimming. Right. So, those are sports that they're a little startup cost, and you're getting outside funders to provide resources to make it attractive. And so we're excited. Men's volleyball, Division I and Division II play together, and the maximum amount of scholarships is 4.5. So you could really create a nationally competitive program in a short amount of time. You just need to identify a setter, middle blocker, outside hitters, and so there are a lot of athletes.
You got a squad.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We've talked for a little while here. Anything that I did not ask you that you want to bring out, Dr. Holloman?
AD, I want to sing the praises of the President's Council that I'm fortunate enough to serve. They have been great to work with and have the best interests of the SIAC in mind, and are willing to think outside of the box to give us the opportunity to do some creative things that will generate revenue that will support our institution, our student athlete experience. The SIAC is healthy, and the SIAC is looking forward to a bright future.
Well, I want to thank you, my brother, for giving me this time. We got a good basketball game going on, but this is the only time we can get in the media room without anybody bothering us. So we had to do it during the middle of a basketball game.
Absolutely. Thank you, Eddie.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Holloman.